Welcome back to the New Creators Podcast, episode 24. We have just returned from our hiatus over the holidays and just restructuring some stuff around the podcast. We've got Perrin with us today, as well as Sean.
Hello.
I am back and better than ever.
We're back in business, baby.
Back in business, yes. So we're glad to start the new year out with more TNC episodes, but we do want to discuss a few changes to the podcast. Indeed. So
there's more
one of
couches.
The first big changes.
More
couches.
There's just more couches.
We're all recording this in a room with couches right now. We're not recording this over Discord like we normally do.
That's crazy.
No, of course not.
I have four couches. I definitely have them. I'm sitting on all four at once as we record this. I have them stacked on top.
And I'm
of each
sitting
other
on
like the Princess
another
and the
one.
Pea.
Yeah, I'm actually
the
upside down on one of the couches right now.
Double decker couch,
Man.
My mic's hanging from the ceiling.
Did y'all see that thing on Instagram? Like there's like someone actually made a double decker couch, like a good one.
Awesome.
Well, I love it so much. Anyway, we're already off topic.
We're so back.
We're so back.
Major
Welcome back,
change,
guys.
So back. Our first major change is that we are no longer doing bi-weekly episodes of the New Creators Podcast.
It's 24/7.
We kind of started out doing that.
Yeah,
and it turned out to be a lot of pressure on the hosts to maintain the social platforms, to get the episodes edited in time, and also we just started finding we didn't really have enough to talk about to fill the episodes, and it ended up just being large collections of us going on tangents and not really talking about anything.
In our defense,
I just want to say
a lot of it was really funny.
Oh yeah, no.
And in my defense,
there will be tangents. To clarify, we're not removing tangents.
In that regard, we're not going anywhere.
And I did offer I would do a whole 10-part series talking about Kid A, like each track individually, do a whole 2 hour for each song, but Micah said no.
And
man,
for the record, I did not say no.
He did. He
could totally do that.
I'm not gonna blame myself.
TNC special episode on just that one album.
One of these days, we gotta each just let each other go completely hog wild, for an entire episode.
Well, we know yours would be sports branding, and then mine would be Kid A. But what would Micah's
do I
be
have
then?
some thoughts.
Probably
Speaking of which,
I about that album.
I have stuff to say in regards to the current state of sports branding because it's a new year, which means new uniforms, new rumors. But that's
okay. Cool.
Save that for later.
Save
that for later.
Yeah.
As you can see, the tangents are still here.
Exactly.
Well, also our number two change. Oh well, actually, wait. Let me clarify. So we're not recording every 2 weeks now. Instead, we're recording monthly. So you can still expect a TNC episode per month to come out, and hopefully it'll be more informational, more helpful, and a lot less stress put on the hosts.
Yes.
And speaking of the hosts, we have a new host, kind of. So Perrin is going to be
it's me.
Changing from a guest
it's
to
official.
A host. Since he guest starred in I think probably over 50% of last season's episodes.
Well, yeah. How many did he actually go into?
It's got to be at least 8 or 9, I think. But I did say my first episode here, within the first 5 minutes of me recording, I said, "quote I'm coming for Ethan's job, and I'm also coming for his bones." I'm just saying, I'm halfway there. Ethan.
Yeah. The bones
halfway
are
there.
Next.
Oh,
better watch your back, Ethan.
So that's Sports and Rants is definitely the one. Back in Blue. What else? The Robotics episode.
Yes,
Metaverse Mayhem. Looking Backwards. Music Mayhem.
And a lot of mayhem episodes,
Couches and Blimps.
Yep.
What else? And then we had Space and Stagnation. And I believe you're also on Engines and Events, so that's probably over half. Just about over
it's
half.
10 episodes.
Yeah, there you go.
Yep. So
Man.
so we figured it'd be nice
Might
to
as
just
well.
go ahead
I'm
and
basically a
formalize
host
it.
already. Might as
Make
well
you a
make it
host,
official.
exactly.
Basically, we just made it official.
I have a little
That's
placard.
basically
it. Exactly.
I have a little placard on my desk now that says official TNC host now. It's great.
It's on the couch.
Putting this on my resume.
Oh my god.
I do. If you look on my website, it says I record the New Creators Podcast.
Well, actually, on my 404 page, you get a link to the TNC podcast.
Is that true?
Yes, if you go to if you just type in any URL that I haven't registered, so like any subdomain. So if you just like put test.seanjw.com, it should happen. And it should come up. It might take a sec, because usually it's quite slow for it to solve it.
Oh, hey, there it is. That's crazy. There it is.
Yeah, that's damn.
I'm trying to learn. That's interesting.
Sam, that's crazy.
Nice.
Man.
Dang.
Incredible.
Very nice.
Slight
and
plug there.
As far as other changes, those are the two main ones. But I do want to clarify: we're not removing Ethan as a host. He'll still be around sometimes, probably. But he's just gotten really busy, and so we wanted to again
Better
kind
to
of
have.
offload things, so it's not just me and Sean running everything.
Exactly, yeah.
I did offer I'd make like so many memes. I was like a meme machine. I was gonna make so many memes that like you wouldn't have enough social media accounts to hold them all. But again, Micah said no.
Bro was cranking them out.
He keeps telling me no.
Sonic speeds.
You're gonna make everyone think that I'm actually just the Debbie Downer of the podcast and making nothing fun ever happen.
I can't believe Micah's not letting me go on all of my tangents. He's really being like a damper on my creative process. I can't believe he'd do this to me.
Oh gosh.
It's just too easy because you're the only one that keeps the podcast like in any way like centered on a topic.
See, someone kind of has to.
Someone's got to be the
someone
comedic,
has
like.
Someone has to be like
the. Yeah,
someone has to have the reins
straight,
here.
You know.
Yeah. So it's just you're just an easy target, Micah. What can I say?
Man,
I'm sorry.
It's not our fault. It's not our fault. We're so funny.
And our final change to the podcast is that guests are going to be planned a little further in advance.
Yes.
So if you are a guest or if you're interested in applying to be a guest, which you can do at bio.link/TNC, you can still apply to be a guest. We're still looking at those, but you can expect to be contacted probably about a month before your episode, maybe even more. Just so we can get more time with you before the episode starts, and so that you can be more prepared to talk about whatever you choose to talk about.
It's just so we can interrogate you. You know, we need like a full background check. You know,
the
social
whole,
security number, whole
Yeah.
shebang.
What was your mother's maiden name, and what was the street that you lived on as a child?
What was your
pet name?
What was your first pet's name, etc. Can I get those
what was the
wacky numbers
model
on the back of your credit
first
card?
car?
Oh, goodness.
Can I get those wacky numbers in the back of your credit card, please?
Man, give
Those
them to
3
me.
digits, if you know what I mean.
They're so funny, those numbers.
It's so
God.
funny, man. That's crazy.
Oh dear, so funny. What were we talking about?
I think that's all the changes we are going to add to the podcast. I think we're ready to move on to the next segment, which is Sean. What have you been doing?
Oh, put me on the spot right there. That's payback for me calling you a Debbie Downer. Right, so there's tons of different things, but I thought I'll put it to the two most recent things I can actually talk about, and that is the Taz Hangout wrap that I made for the server. That came out on the 1st of January. Almost didn't, but just squeezed it out, luckily, because I had some issues.
And it's good.
Thank you.
It's so good. There's so much detail in that thing.
I was so tired.
There's a lot of good bits on there that were immortalized in this little site.
Yeah, what was a nightmare? I was trying to get those videos to work, because originally the videos were actually going to be embedded on the site itself, like on the storage. But the problem was, I didn't realize GitHub has an issue where if you want to upload something over 100 megabytes, you have to do it through Git itself, like the actual Git command line. I've never done that before in my life. Had to figure that out. Took ages. And then when I finally did it, there was an issue reversal and the videos wouldn't embed. So I just went, you know what? Fine. I'm embedding them through Google Drive. So I did that.
And it worked.
It did work. It did work. And I'm just more upset that I wasted probably hours of my life trying to figure that out and it didn't even work.
Understandable.
Man.
But other than that, everything else actually went quite smoothly, considering, because I am awful at web design usually. I don't want to admit how long it took me to make some of the previous websites.
Man.
But this looks excellent. It really does.
Yeah, thank you.
It's quite good.
Yeah.
And you can find that for reference at wrapped.hangout.seanjw.com.
Please join my server.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Join the server at hangout.seanjw.com.
Yeah.
What else have you been working on, Sean?
Well, this is kind of like a joint thing between me and you, because basically you did most of the work, but I'm going to take the credit, and that's the SMP relaunch. If for those who don't know, the Taz Hangout Discord server originally, back in kind of mid 2023, had a Discord server, not a Discord server, a Minecraft server that we all played on, where we got things such as the Oriali Manor, the Ori Shrine, QE Base, and so on. Other things that I can't remember off the top of my head.
Tudo's got his ginormous castle. That looks really cool.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then it kind of just fizzled out, because obviously it was costing, I think it was QMexis who ran it at the time, and it was costing him money, because I believe he was running it on like an official server. I don't know if it was like Realms, but he was running it on like an actual service that like hosts Minecraft, Java. So then eventually, we had the idea to relaunch it through Micah's Oracle Cloud, I believe it was, in the end we did.
Yep. So it's currently running on a cloud VM that actually uses ARM-based chips, which is, if you're familiar with architectures, most like normal CPUs are like what we call x64, like 64-bit processors.
Yeah.
And ARM is like a newer architecture that's like more power efficient and stuff, but I was like, my point is, I was very surprised that it let me run a Java server on an ARM-based CPU. Like, I'm really surprised that was even supported.
I know,
because like ARM lacks support for a lot of programs. But hey, I've had no problems, and it's been performing really well too.
It has been. I was really surprised with the performance actually.
Especially since it's also running on the same server that acts. It does two other things. It runs Oriali bot, which is the Discord bot for Sean's Hangout.
Yeah.
Taz Hangout. I just call it Sean's Hangout. Taz Hangout. Whatever.
Taz Hangout.
Yeah.
It's the same person.
Taz Hangout. True. And it also runs a reverse proxy, like a tunnel that I use to access my home server from places that's not home. So it's simultaneously running a Minecraft server, running a Discord bot, and tunneling like a significant amount of my internet traffic into my local network. So I'm like, how is this doing all this with like 10 gigs of RAM? That's crazy.
That's crazy. Yeah.
Efficiency.
I was trying to make one because you can get it for free, the VM, and I was trying to do it, but the problem was I have to use the London servers, and there is no availability for those ARM CPUs. So I was stuck, and I said, "Do you still have your cloud VM?"
And I do.
And then what was even funnier was
I have four different VMs that I use for various projects.
Yeah.
So I have one that has like 12 gigabytes of RAM that's exclusively dedicated to hosting like a Visual Studio Code instance, so I can like do Linux development from any machine.
Nice. Yeah, so I think it was I messaged you on Discord, I think like early January about it, and I said, whenever you get the time, if you wouldn't mind, would you mind setting it up? And you said, yeah. And I thought it might take a little bit of time because I didn't know how involved the process was. I watched a few tutorials, but I didn't know exactly how long it would take. So anyway, so I thought, all right, I'll start preparing a few things here and there in anticipation for it coming back. And then like, I think it was a couple days later, but out of nowhere, I woke up, checked Discord, and it's like, hey guys, the server's back. It's like,
he wasn't ready.
For the record, it didn't really occur to me that, he might have assets ready for it that like, he might want to have. And so I just took like a previous Ta SMP logo and like edited it down.
It was pretty good, to be honest. It was pretty much what I was initially going to do, but then I thought, I need to one-up him now. I have to do something better than that. So I made this. I went and took an old image, and I had to cut out this whole thing in Affinity Photo, and it took so long. I don't want to.
And it looks good though.
It does, but I'm glad you say that because it took me so much time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it took a long time to do it, but yeah.
Indeed. And we still have people asking for the IP address of the server, even though it's pretty consistently in the /Minecraft command.
Yes, please. People still ask, is anyone online? And it's like, use
very
Oriali bot.
It's right there. It's so easy to do it. I'm going to do it right now. And
/Minecraft.
2 seconds.
And
There's
then
the address.
show player list.
It shows who's on there. There's a button. It's, know exactly who's there. Easy.
Yeah,
it's that
I
simple.
did notice one thing. I did notice one thing when you use that command that it still says, and it's quite funny. It still says it's hosted by QEMexis. Micah won't even take
Wait,
the
really?
credit.
Does it?
It does. I forgot to mention it to you. And I thought it was quite funny because it's like you won't even take.
I'm gonna edit that right now.
He wants the credit. He wants the credit, man.
Man, bro's multitasking.
Bro's.
We're in the middle of something right now, Micah. There are better things to pay attention to at the moment.
He's actually look, this is crazy. He's spread out on 3 couches right now. He's hosting the podcast, and he's also changing the name of the thing on his Oriali bot. That's crazy.
Man, truly a jack of all trades. He is Micah. One day.
Jack of all trades, master of all.
Man.
And let's see here. I have to restart the bot.
Also, it's still funny how we have Oriali bot still watching Morbius. He just they're just watching it constantly. Based. This is live development of Taz Hangout SMP.
I am putting in the Minecraft command on the bot over and over again. Now it's down.
It's down.
There it goes.
Now it's down. There it is, hosted by Michael.
Hey, and someone's on as well.
Yeah.
Changed.
Nice. Very nice.
Very nice.
So yeah, I think so. At the moment, it's pretty much done. The only thing now is just we're probably at some point when Micah and us get the time, we'll update it to the newer version of Minecraft. Okay, it's on 1.20.1, I think, right now. And I think
it needs
the
to be on
latest.
1.20.2.
Yeah, but we'll do that when we have the time. But other than that,
it's not an emergency.
It's not an emergency. Well, I mean, to some people it probably is an emergency, but I don't care. You be patient. Good things come to those who wait. So be patient, all right?
Man.
Perrin, what have you been working on?
All right. So I'm back in school again. I'm starting my senior year, which is terrifying. Already.
Did you go into college a year before me?
No, we started the same year. I'm just ahead of the curve.
Okay, so you're just ahead.
He's just speed running.
Yeah, I did 2 years.
Going into senior
enrollment. Yeah, I did 2 years dual enrollment before I even got to the school I'm at now. So I'm going to graduate next fall, which was a semester.
Wow,
a year and a half early, 3 semesters early. So so that's been taken up the last week. School just started last week. But on the side, I'm still working away at my little football league. I'm sharing updates very slowly. I'm getting ready for professional stuff, so I'm in the process of trying to update my portfolio site. I don't really I can't figure out. I think stuff changed for Adobe Portfolio, and I can't figure out how to do it anymore. Stuff I know how worked perfectly fine with how my site existed previously. I can't figure out how to replicate anymore. So
wait, what's the link?
It's what is it? It's
Perrin-designs.myportfolio.com/home.
It's still a solid site, but I want to add stuff. I feel like I could do better. I can get wilder with what I got. I'm giving Squarespace a try, but it's got its own shortcomings, and it's got its own stuff that I can't figure out how to do.
Squarespace is a pain.
It's not that bad compared to Wix.
As a web developer,
I've had to use
freaking
Wix.
hate Squarespace.
I've had to use Wix.
Wix is worse.
Wix is so bad, dude. Wix is painful to use.
That's just that's a digital equivalent of waterboarding. Why would you do that to yourself?
Yeah, there was an assignment I had for my first semester of school when I got here, and we had to make a little mini figure out how to do a little site on Wix. And it was painful.
I had to get a site on Wix one time.
I begged my professor to let me use anything else, and I still got stuck with Wix, and it was not ideal. Was not very fun.
My only advice, I think, would be we probably need a better URL because perrin-designs.myportfolio.com is a little bit.
I'm probably gonna shift gears. I'm probably gonna shift gears from Perrin Designs to Designs by Perrin, which I know is a very confusing change that not a lot of people are gonna be able to remember. Obviously, it's such a drastic difference. I know, but like, I think it just rolls a little bit better off the tongue, I suppose.
Yeah. I'd say it's better than myportfolio.com.
Yeah.
Because it's such a long URL.
I know. But yeah, domains are not expensive. I can get one for like $20 a year. So
$12 a year.
Figure it out.
Use Namecheap.
Same.
Namecheap is legendary.
So I got
Namecheap.
Namecheap is insane, man. Because I got SeanJW.com for like £9 or something. Like a .com as well, which I was really surprised you could get a .com for that cheap, because I thought they were always really expensive .coms. But now, and SeanJW is a pretty short one as well.
Wow, $10.28 a year for designsbyperrin.com. I really hope no one steals that from me now that I said that out loud.
Just buy it now before this podcast goes up.
I don't have anything on there. What do you think about? I barely even know how to like make a site designated as a domain. I know nothing about website design.
That's hard.
I know.
See, I use Vercel.
I think you should take.
That's what I do. See, I don't know much about hosting, so I just use Vercel to host all my stuff. That's where you can find all my stuff on GitHub.
This is. I don't know anything. So the plan honestly might be either just use Squarespace and use like whatever, buy a domain through them because they do the hosting for you. Or I'm just gonna ask you, Micah, and help me make a site.
Yes, ask me. Ask me, please. Please don't stick yourself with Squarespace domains.
It can't be that bad, can it?
It's they lock you into their domain system. It's bad.
And at this moment, he realized he messed up.
Regardless of what I do, I always I have my domain through Namecheap, and then this year I switched the name servers to Cloudflare, so I can actually cache stuff and have things be much better performing, and it's been excellent. I love Cloudflare domain or Cloudflare DNS because I can see how many people visit websites, and updates way faster.
Right now, you can get Perrin.cool for £4.71 a year.
I speak American, Kowalski. What is that in dollars?
I don't know. I'm not a conversion expert.
You could get Perrin. You could get Perrin.design for $10 a year.
That's not bad.
That's $5.98 in United States dollar. So from pound sterling to United States dollar, that's $5.98. So $6 if you round it up.
Yeah, $99 a year for Perrin.design is a lot.
Oh, dang it, it's a premium domain.
Ugh.
RIP.
Perrin.com is taken.
Now, I know this is £51. This is £51, but I think it's worth it. It's Perrin.meme, so I think that's worth it.
How
you
much
can
is
also
it?
get £51.
Ooh, that is.
There's also Perrin.ninja. Perrin.ninja for £10 a year.
That could be worse. I'm not affiliated with neither the Twitch streamer nor the Blender company.
No, this is so good.
I feel like that'd be false advertising.
This is a real domain you can buy right now on Namecheap.com, and it is Perrin.wtf, and it is a steal at £3.93 a year.
Unfortunately, .perrin is not a valid subdomain.
No.
Not
Why,
subdomain. .perrin is not available.
But one domain I really want to get at some point, if y'all know, some of my usernames currently and in the past have been Micah LT.
Yeah.
It's those are the initials of my second two names switched around. What I want to get is Micah.lt, because LT is the domain name for Lithuania.
Yeah.
The problem is Micah.lt would be a really nice short one. Yeah, but that's the problem. So if you want to buy it, you have to buy it through a proxy buyer, and it ends up being $55 a year.
That's not. That's pretty bad, but that's not the worst.
No,
it's not. And I already spend around $20 a year for domains because I maintain michaellinley.com and the calf.app.
Yeah.
So,
but like, I was hoping to get, cause I did look into this. I was wanting to get dad.ta, so it would literally be my username but ta is not a valid TLD.
It's not.
It's not. If you look up on Namecheap, it doesn't come up. It's invalid, which is very sad. And I generally thought it would be.
I think you can get them. Oh wait, no. Never mind.
No.
Never mind.
No.
You can't.
Oh.
Da.ta.
What a sad way to come back with a podcast. This is so sad.
Rip. We should probably move on because we've already been recording for like 25 minutes. We're still talking
TNC
about
is back, baby.
Which I guess, honestly, that's kind of fine because this is just a kind of
this
welcome
is a chiller
back,
episode. We don't have
exactly.
There's less of a burden of like having to have content to put back. We're easing back into it.
Yeah.
Another thing I wanted to mention before we move on to what you're doing, Micah. Brain Battle 5 is still happening. It's still happening.
Over a year later.
It has been over a year since I did the info project announcing it, I believe. But it is still going on. We are in round 3. We're in the second to last round. We're intentionally making the rounds really long so people have time. I shared the round project in November, and we have a whopping 1 entry. We just got it yesterday, and the deadline is in less than 2 weeks.
So what we're trying to say is hurry up.
Please
hurry up or else.
Enter. The only reason it's taking so long is because I want you to enter. Please, for the love of God, you know who you are. Please enter. You've got 2 full weeks, guys. Come on.
If you don't enter, you will regret it.
You will regret it because then you won't advance and you won't win. It's that simple.
Come on, you want the credit.
The chance of you winning if you don't enter is 0. The chance of you winning if you do enter at this point is there's 8 people left. 12.5%. So
boom, maths.
Just saying.
Take that.
Just saying.
Nerds.
That's better than 0. That is very easy math. So enter please. Thank you. This has been a PSA.
Yeah. What are you working on, by the way, Micah? We probably should move on before Perrin goes on our tangent.
I'm done. I swear.
That's what he always says.
Again, I can quit whenever I want.
Likewise, I have been returning to school this semester. This is my, 3rd week? I think we're coming into the 3rd week at the time we're recording this. And yeah, this is my second semester of my sophomore year. It's the second half of my sophomore year. And not much going on there. I'm taking some interesting classes, data structures, C++ programming, some fun stuff that's getting a little further into my major. This is also the last semester where I have to take core classes. So after this semester, I'll be taking almost exclusively computer and design classes. So I'm kind of excited for that. It'll be fun.
This is my first semester of only design classes, which is fun. I'm done with all the core stuff also.
That is fun.
So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
It's fun to actually,
that is fun.
do the stuff I like doing and nothing else.
Exactly. Yes. Exactly. Aside from that, I've been working on a project that I don't think anyone really knows about yet. But I
was going to say I've not heard about this. I see it on the notes and I've never heard of it.
Yeah, I think it's... I kind of been keeping it that way intentionally because it's highly under construction.
Oh my god, you're stealing my brand? You're stealing my brand of secrecy? Plagiarism.
I see plagiarism. I generally am not big on hiding things. I generally make things open source on my GitHub day one, and then everyone can kind of see it as it goes up.
Yeah.
But what I'm working on, TZDB stands for Tutuhil Language Database.
Okay.
And it is the world's largest, most comprehensive dictionary and translator of Mayan Tutuhil language.
Okay.
So, yes. So, for context, my girlfriend speaks Spanish, and it has gone down a few times to Guatemala where they still speak this indigenous Mayan language, which is really cool. But there's very little actual information about this language. And so she's been gathering information on it for like years. And so we're in the process of combining everything into this website that is essentially like a dictionary for these words with English and Spanish translations. It's a really, really cool project because not many people get to say like, hey, I made the largest dictionary in this language. So for context, we've only got about 4,000 translated words so far, and it's the currently largest existing dictionary for this language.
That's awesome, dude.
So it's been really fun. So most of my side, I don't speak Spanish, which is what most of the resources are in. So I have not been doing anything in regards to translation, but I have been building, of course, the web interface, and I've been maintaining the database, which I'm writing in SQL, which is a fun language I haven't used before.
Right. Fuck.
So yeah, it's been an interesting project.
That's very cool.
Yeah. Yep. So that's been taking up quite a lot of time, but it's been a really interesting project.
It sounds like by the time it's done, it's gonna be very big and very like comprehensive, which is super cool.
Well, we've gotten it to the point where the only remaining tasks we can do are besides just like cleaning up the existing data. Yeah. The only new words we can add are in like print books, where we're gonna have to like manually go through and enter lots and lots and lots of words. So it's gonna be, it'll be interesting. But we're kind of down to the grunt work part of it.
I appreciate all the education you gave us, Micah, because first it was the Ballad of a Santawa, and now it's this. I mean, that's amazing, man.
Yeah, it's an interesting. I'm also learning how to do internationalization of websites. Like, I've never done a website that's available in multiple languages, but since most people who are going to want to learn to speak this language speak Spanish natively, so again, I've like had to put a language switch on the website where you can switch it to Spanish, and had to get my girlfriend to translate parts of the UI to Spanish, which has been really, really interesting, and I'm just not familiar with that at all. But it's been a really unique experience, and it's not really like anything else I've built before. So
that's really cool.
You can technically find TZDB if you search on it on Google hard enough. I'm not quite ready to give out the domain, just because I'm still very, very much in progress, and I'd rather it be a little more in a finished state. So
that makes sense. I will find it though. You will not hide it
I'm
from
sure
me.
You will. It's not hard to find if you look for it. So, yeah.
Nice.
But that's kind of what's been taking up the most of my time.
Nice. Very cool.
Very cool. That's gonna be a big like resume project right there for sure.
Big resume project.
That's
indeed.
Man, love being at the state where every time I'm doing something for design, I'm just like, yes, this is going on my resume, or this is going on my portfolio.
Yeah.
Man.
Well, before we even started recording, you mentioned how you got to put TNC host on your resume.
Yeah.
True.
Indeed. Real.
Yep.
Definitely.
Well, let's get real quick. I know we've already been talking for like 34 minutes, so we don't have that much time left, but let's go ahead and talk briefly about a few things we've seen in the creative industries lately. First of all, the first thing I want to talk about is Adobe abandoning the Figma acquisition.
Woo! I'm so happy about this.
Thank you so much.
So I've been so vocal about this that even my dad knows about this, and he barely even knows what Figma is. And like 20 minutes after I found out about it, he like texted me the Verge article, like, and he's like, "Man, that's crazy." I'm like, "I know, I saw this like 15 minutes ago, and it made my day. I was so happy about this."
I made a waste of post about it, and I said that the grass is greener, the world is at peace now because Adobe has abandoned their Figma acquisition.
The tank is clean.
Yeah, I was so ecstatic with this news. Like it was amazing to see.
It's good. I love it when Adobe takes L's.
Indeed, such a good L.
Man,
I mean, it's always a good day when Adobe takes an L. 100%.
Man, I'm a bit disappointed in Figma. I'm like, sure, like, I get the concept of wanting to be bought because that means a lot of money for you and your team on Figma's part. But at the same time, man, am I glad they're not part of Adobe. Just because then, the downsides of this is that then they'd be owned by Adobe, and that'd be awful. Yeah. Because
it's not even just that. Like, even if Adobe was like a really good company, which it isn't, by the way, you know,
which it is not.
It's like it just simply isn't, right? Like they are the market leader in graphic design software in general, and just like creative software. So for them to acquire the biggest competitor in the same space, I mean, that's just a monopoly at that point. There's virtually nothing left outside of what Affinity and Inkscape. That's about it, really, in real terms. And one of them's an open source project by what I believe is volunteers. I don't think Inkscape has like a full time like employees working on it. Like Serif is the only company is actually building a product, you know. So I just don't see how that could have ever got past a regulator, to be honest, even if they were to keep pursuing it. But who knows?
Yeah, I'm really glad it have. I mean, I'm always for it. Like I said, I'm always for it. If Adobe's gonna take an L, I'm always here for it. That's why I prefer to use Affinity Designer whenever possible, rather over Illustrator. But I thought this one just kind of took me by surprise because it seemed like so many things were in place for this.
Exactly, yeah.
And
it really felt like it was a done deal the moment it was announced, and like it felt like the inevitable culmination of like Adobe's entire like philosophy. But like, I'm very glad that it wasn't even like American like trade commissions or anything. Wasn't it in the UK? That, like,
so it was actually that's the interesting bit, and this is the interesting bit, and I think it kind of reveals why they dumped this acquisition. So at first it was the EU, no surprise there. The EU took issue with it and said it was. I believe the issue was again it was monopoly. They thought it would be a monopoly. They didn't like what. And then the UK stepped in. I believe it's the CMA we have here, which is our competition regulator. And they did an interesting thing, which I didn't expect. So obviously the issue again was competition, but they went a step further and said if Adobe wants to continue with this, they would first have to divest other parts of Figma and Adobe. So they'd have to sell. They would have to sell off XD. They'd have to sell off the XD software. Which,
to be fair, no one liked XD to begin with.
No, but this is the
kicker. I've never met anyone who actually used XD.
It's horrible. But the kicker was they had to sell off Figma Design, which is the actual Figma software, which is literally the main thing they wanted.
So what would have been
They'd
left?
have to sell that off. Jamboard, FigJam, that's what it's called. Yeah,
which is not
nothing.
Not a very Adobe.
That's not enough. Yeah, that's not
exactly.
enough to have.
And I think
FigJam's a cool software. I don't know if you've used it.
It is
decent.
actually
it's absolutely
fun, but it's not
it's
like
fine.
a full thing, you know.
Exactly. But the other interesting thing was the UK also wanted to do, I believe, what was it? I can't remember what the term was. I think it was basically they wanted to investigate like their internal affairs, basically, like to do an audit, basically. Yeah, the EU wanted to also do an audit, and very interestingly, and I didn't expect this from America because they don't seem to be usually like ones to step in, but even the DOJ I believe said they were going to do. They wanted to step in and do also an audit as well. So basically, they had no choice because let's be honest, we probably know they're doing dodgy stuff behind the scenes.
Oh, absolutely.
So they don't want to get caught.
Way.
They don't want to get caught. So basically, they said cut our losses now. So they cut their losses and got rid of it. That's what I think anyway. Yeah. That's probably that's my working game theory. But that's just a theory, a game theory.
Man,
you know?
But absolutely glad this didn't fall through.
Yeah. The only thing I want to say as well, and this is something I wanted to mention. I mentioned it when it first happened in my server. And it was, I don't think people should trust Figma implicitly anymore because the fact that they wanted to sell off to Adobe, their direct competitor that the CEO themselves made fun of. Like on Twitter, he would talk about how we don't want to be Adobe, and then he goes and sells the company to Adobe.
Yeah.
So it's pretty clear. I wouldn't trust the company as far as you can throw them.
Yeah. Or at the very least, don't trust what the CEO says on Twitter.
To be fair,
Exactly.
There's not many companies I do trust.
No, I'm not saying there's not.
Exactly.
You shouldn't trust any company. To be fair, but especially
Companies
when
are not your
literally
friend.
says,
Friendly reminder.
"Whoa."
Companies don't care about you. You don't need to be
Crazy.
their friend.
Yeah, exactly. No need to champion them, like But yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm just still an Adobe L. I always take an L. I'm
Yeah.
always happy for Adobe to take an L.
Yeah. I also think this is fun. The Apple Vision Pro, which is marketed as Apple's big bet on XR entertainment,
Yeah.
is going to lack app support.
Spatial
on
computing, guys. It's spatial
Man.
computing.
Spatial computing.
I'm gonna
For
be
Netflix,
real.
YouTube, and Spotify, none of those three will have.
Yeah, and Spotify's going
An
one
app.
step further. They're actually blocking the web player as well, so you can't use
Oh,
Spotify
wow.
whatsoever. Whereas at least
Really?
yeah, they said that they are blocking it entirely, and they think it might have to do with the fact that Spotify has issues with Apple's charges. You know, they're like App Store stuff at
Interesting.
the moment. But yeah, so basically, if you want to listen to music on the your 3,000 plus investment, yeah, you can.
Man.
So, but it was interesting. 'cause,
Imagine-
someone. What was interesting was and someone said, I can't remember who said it, but someone said it sounds almost similar to the Windows Phone catastrophe, where its biggest issue was it didn't have apps,
App support.
no app support.
Yeah.
Apple
Everything.
seems like the company to be like logical enough to not launch something as specific as this without decent app support.
Yeah.
I'm kind of surprised that they're going this direction.
But what's
with just
crazy-
hard launching it now.
But the thing is, what's crazy is they clearly understood that because they announced the product virtually a year ago, right? So the developers
Yeah.
had time to get their apps ready for the Vision Pro.
Yep.
And yet tons of
And so
developers
the
have said
three
no.
of the primary,
Yeah.
the three of the primary people have three of the primary players in the entertainment space have just said no, we're not building apps for this.
We're good,
It's
actually.
wild. Yeah, the one that surprises me the most is YouTube.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, because
Yeah.
that seems like something that would
Yeah.
not be hard for
They
Google
already
to build.
have like VR built
considering
into
how-
their videos a lot of the time. Like they already
Yes,
have
a lot of
built-in VR support. It really doesn't seem like something they'd be so
I feel like it has to do with either they have an issue with Apple for some reason, or it's something to do for some reason they can't afford it, because obviously they're going through a ton of layoffs right now. So maybe it's something they just can't dedicate any time to it for some reason. 'Kay, like I say, I don't know why
And-
YouTube is blocking it, like not doing it. It's weird because like I Spotify, I'm not surprised. I'm not like amazed they wouldn't, and Netflix is the same. They don't have to, but YouTube, like you say, I'm very surprised because it's kind of a thing where it's
And-
always been like on every platform.
And there's also the fact that like Google's apps for like iPhone are good.
They are,
And like Chrome, like also Chrome for iPad is a good browser.
except from the fact
Like
it
aside
runs
from the fact
WebKit.
that it uses WebKit, yeah. Aside from that, it's like as far as like in terms of interface, like Google's apps on Apple devices, like they're generally pretty good, and it surprises me that they, as one of the primary players of the entertainment space, would not have launch support for Vision Pro.
Yeah, I just the Vision Pro.
It just may be. I
There's-
think it's just been a consistent thing in the XR space that like these XR devices are so experimental.
Exactly.
And there's no one UI for developing with
I
them.
just-
and so
I
convincing people
imagine
to put
the
effort
main
into them.
problem is they don't think it's gonna be like commercially viable because it's a completely new thing. I don't know, like
I mean, and
I
also
think-
because it's $3,500.
that too.
That's-
Like
It's
I
expensive
bought.
as hell.
It's more
I think
expensive
it's
than my
a-
freaking car.
Yeah, I do think it is a like if it can be like done, if any company can do it done well, I feel like it would probably be Apple at the forefront of it. But at the same time, there's too many question marks here, and I can see why people are hesitant, like whether or not it's going to be successful.
I think
But
the
it
thing
is
about it
kind
is
of
I've
dystopian,
heard
yeah.
Every review of this thing has been pretty unanimous in that this is the best VR has ever looked, but also it's not practical for $3,500. So
Yeah.
Apple's only hope is like their whole elitism, like, oh, buy our products because they're the best and we're the fanciest,
Yeah.
is that works to some extent,
Yeah.
but I don't think they're going to be able to convince the general audience to purchase $3,500.
Especially when they market it as like a place to escape to, and the whole like draw of the like environment is like, oh, this is just another workspace. Why would you want to escape the real world just to be, productive in your office?
I think like
in a
there's
virtual office.
I'm gonna go on a limb here. I think it's the first time Apple has messed up severely with marketing, because one thing Apple has always been good with is marketing. They know how to market a product. Even their worst products ever have had really good marketing for them that have almost made them enticing. But I genuinely think that the Vision Pro has had really bad marketing. Firstly, I don't know why it's called Vision Pro when it's the first version of the product.
It's the first.
It should just be Apple Vision.
Call it the Vision.
It should and a Vision Pro should be the next one, the second.
The Vision Pro
we're not.
Should maybe be $3,500, but the Vision should be like most $2,000.
And I think the other thing is, I'm gonna be blunt, right? All the photos of this thing, like from Apple, they look straight out of Black Mirror. They look Black Mirror. Yeah. Like, have you seen that one with a guy where he's taking a video of his like kids playing and he's wearing the headset? Yeah. It genuinely looks something straight out of Black Mirror. Like I can imagine Charlie Brooker writing that. it just doesn't look very something about it is sterile to an uncanny. It's almost liminal, like a liminal space. It's uncomfortable.
I think you can go. You can finish it. You weren't done.
Oh yeah. The other thing I thought as well was like, how you were saying about how this is meant to be like spatial computing. I think I'm gonna say as well, I don't think people want to wear a headset all day.
Exactly.
I genuinely don't think that people want to do that, right? I just don't think we don't like being shut in. We like the idea of technology being accessible, but not literally like impeding our vision or like senses in such a way. Notice that, I mean, like you say, a lot of the reviews have said it's extremely heavy, it's not got the best weight distribution, and you have to carry around a battery bank that only lasts 2 hours. Like, I get it's an experimental product, but for Apple, it's almost extremely experimental, like Google Glass like levels of experimental. That's not Apple. Like, Apple usually will take their time until they release a product, like until it's something that can be practical for a general audience. And this just
I think would have probably been a better strategy if they wanted to market this. Like, I feel like they should have started out with this as a gaming console, personally. Because
I hate saying
having like the VR headset like right in your own space, even like with the finger gestures and stuff, that could be really cool as a VR console, and that would like an actual video game.
I think
that'd be a good way to test. That'd be a good way to test it out and see how it works and refine everything before you jump straight into making it its own like computing system.
Yeah. I hate saying this, but I'm gonna say it. Meta actually did something good with the Meta Quest / Oculus, because they marketed it as a gaming console mainly.
Exactly.
But that's what it is. It's I think for me, again, I can't predict the future, but I feel VR is going to be the next generation of gaming and entertainment, not work, not productivity. I don't think people want that for productivity.
Yeah,
because
if you
doesn't
make
work.
If you make VR the standard for productivity, then companies are going to make people use it constantly, and then we're going to get all the dystopian futures where people are just in VR
I think the only place in the workplace that VR will actually become commonplace will be like construction in places where they want to like have models like kind of laid out.
I think also medical field potentially.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I can see this being really cool for like education in like virtually doing labs and stuff.
Yeah, but I don't think it's going to become the norm for like everything. It's not going to be the next computer. Simple as that. I don't think that's what's going to happen.
Okay, I have some experience with like VR headsets, like just like using them, wearing them, playing games with them. They are not fun to use for long periods of time. Like they get like about an hour and a half in, like your eyes start hurting, your head starts feeling weird, and you're like, all right, I'm tired, I'm done.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, you're literally having a screen right up to your eyes, like so close to your eyes. It's not healthy. It's not good for your like health. Yeah, it's bad. Like I just don't think it's the same thing with like even earbuds. Like earbuds, they're not good for your hearing, and at all. You shouldn't be putting stuff in your ears. All right, I've learned from experience. So this is, to me, this feels very much similar to that, where it's like it's going to be cool as like a entertainment machine, but I don't think it's going to be anything else than that, personally.
Yeah.
I just don't see it being the next generation of computing.
Me neither. Yeah.
I want to see.
Anyway, we should probably move on to the music segment.
Ooh.
Music.
It would seem.
I missed this.
Music segment.
You sound
Sean,
excited,
are you ready
Sean.
to go on your
I think
rant?
you should go first.
Oh, I'm ready. Ooh. Right, 1 minute.
All right, let's do it.
Right. Okay, so I'm going to be talking about yet another Beach House record. I thought I've talked about more Beach House records, but according to the notes, I've only talked about Beach House's EP Become. I might have talked about Depression Cherry on one of our live streams, but I don't think I've actually talked about anything else outside of those two. But anyway, I'm talking about 7 by Beach House. So the album is literally just called The Number 7 because, you'll guess it, it's the 7th album they've made. And it came at a point in their time where they kind of... It's a weird thing with Beach House where most of their like first 6 records almost sounded the same to an extent. Like they're not a band that like drastically changed their sound every album. It was something where they mostly refined it and kind of explored different parts of it. So like Teen Dream was like the first kind of wave of that sound. Bloom kind of went in a more kind of like loud and immediate way, and then Depression Cherry was more kind of like ethereal and dreamy. And then they had Thank Your Lucky Stars, which was like a kind of B-sides record, and then they had another B-side record. But then 7 was like almost kind of a reboot in a sense, because this album goes in a much more kind of like I wouldn't say experimental. It's not like a record that feels like too inaccessible, I guess, but it's something where it does take a lot more twists and turns. Like for example, the first track, Dark Spring, is like really fast with like loud drums that kind of drown out virtually everything else. The vocals are kind of below that. You've got this kind of roaring guitar in the back, and it's like that for a solid 3 minutes, and it's really intense but also really catchy in a weird way. And then it's like what's really funny is when the track ends, it feels like it's crashing into the next song almost. Like it kind of goes and it crashes into the next one. And like I say, there's tons of different tracks that kind of do different things. Like there's a track and it's in French, the title, so I can't say it. It's like L'Inconnu or something. I don't know how you say the word. But anyway, so the for those who don't know, the lead singer, Victoria Legrand, she is French American. So she can speak French. So this is the first song that she did singing in French, and it actually works really well. And what's
interesting,
it's a track that starts off literally with just her voice being like reverbed out to make like this kind of big bed of like sound, and then it slowly builds with more instruments coming in as it goes along. And there's also other tracks that do other things, like Drunk in LA kind of has this like woozy kind of like hazy sound, which obviously works with the whole title with being Drunk in LA. And you've got something like Black Car, which is like got a bit of electronics going on. It's more kind of like almost gothic, I guess. I don't know what other word you could use for it, but it's really good. And the best track, which is Girl of the Year, it's basically like a traditional Beach House song, but on steroids. It's just got really heavy drums, really intense kind of synths and keys going on and stuff, and it's just a great banger. It's really catchy, and I love it. But I would say, because I know you said it to me, Perrin, before, that Beach House can be kind of slow, and I do agree, it is a slower sound. I would say if you don't like that sound as much, 7 is probably more your bag, because it's more immediate. And also the album's a bit shorter than some of their other records. Yeah. But I would say that record's much more kind of like immediate and kind of gets to the point. But yeah, it was a really good record. So yeah, that's my first rant since we're back. Let's go.
Yo.
All right, who's next?
I can go.
All right.
So
go ahead.
I want to talk about the newest Sufjan Stevens album, Javelin. So I listened to this for the first time like a month and a half ago. It's Sufjan Stevens. If you know anything about Sufjan Stevens, you kind of know what to expect. It's pretty like...
I do not.
It's pretty low key, like like guitar, like folksy kind of stuff. But a little bit sad, a little bit nostalgic, very poetic, but it is sad banjo music basically. But it's really, really well done, and it always has absolutely stellar production all around.
Oh yeah.
But this latest album is one of his best, I think. I haven't listened to all of his stuff, and I really should. But it is a album I immediately fell in love with, even though I'm normally not the biggest fan of like slow guitar songs all the time. But it was really, really good. It's interspersed with a lot of like electronic sounds as well. It gets kind of like real wacky and experimental with a couple of things, but like the lyrics are absolutely beautiful. As far as I know, it's dedicated to like
it's
his
dedicated
lover
to
who
his
passed
late
away.
partner.
Yeah.
No, that's Carrion Lowell. That hits one of his
Yeah.
previous records, but the Javelin's dedicated to his partner who passed away sadly.
Yeah, and it's
really.
I haven't noticed it. I gotta like listen to all the way through again, but like you can tell that like a lot of it is like kind of fueled by like
Oh yeah,
his
there's
grief
one
of
part.
losing her and the memory of her, and like it's
Yeah.
kind of is like a little journey almost on like whether or not he even like. There's a song that's called "Will Anybody Ever Love Me?" And I think like it's probably
Oh, yeah.
going on a little arc of like whether or not he even like thinks he deserves love or is like capable of having
The
someone
most
love him.
devastating one. I don't know if you would agree with me on this, but you know the part in that super long song that I can't say the full name of because it's a swear word. It's the
Yeah.
talk song, right? And it's the bit there's one part where the singing is so like vulnerable that I almost like teared up. It was so sad, but it's so powerful.
It's really pretty.
It's such a good record. Like he has a lot of good records, Sufjan, but I would say this is his best record, and that's saying something because he has some really good stuff.
But yeah, highly recommend the album. Very much worth a listen. Go check it out. It's so well done. Yeah. I'd say my favorite songs on it: "A Running Start," "Goodbye Evergreen." I noticed, Sean, that you put "My Red Little Fox" down at the bottom of yours, but I really like my Red Little Fox personally.
Yeah. It's at the bottom, but it's still a very good track. I gave it like an 80, so like that's like 8 out of 10
like, even
song. It's still
it's that good of an album. I believe it was Anthony Fantano's top third best album of the entire year.
Yeah,
and,
like I heard a lot of records.
Whether or not you agree, I'm not the biggest
I would
Fantano
say
guy.
It's my
but
top.
Like,
It's my top
that was
three.
a good pick.
100%. It's a good pick. It's my top three. Definitely, because from last year there was a lot of good records, but Sufjan, he really brought it out like an absolutely stunning record this year. Really good. But yeah, like I say, like the worst song for me is an 8 out of 10, and that's
how
like,
good
there's not
it is.
many. There's not many albums that can do that. So
So yeah,
but yeah,
Very fun.
what about you, Micah?
My album is Ultra Pure by Briston Maroney. Probably most people haven't heard of him, but you may have heard the song "Freaking Out on the Interstate."
I've heard that title.
Maybe.
Yeah,
I feel
which
like I've heard the title.
Really got like several hundred million plays. Like in like late 2019, I think, or maybe it was 20. When does this song come out? Oh, 2020. It came out in 2020.
Got ya.
As a single. Oh no! It's been out since 2018, and then it was re-released as a live EP with a single and an acoustic version. But in general, he kind of electric guitar and kind of vibey, kind of just like guitar pop, but kind of like sad pop. It's fun stuff. But he recently released an album called Ultra Pure. That's really interesting. I can't quite describe it. I've only listened to it a few times. But it's a really interesting. It's got some really good songs. If you like kind of that little more ambient, like pop rock, kind of sad vibe. Yeah. You got Detonator, which is quite fun. Sunshine's pretty good. Body's good, and Sink Swim is also excellent. All fun tracks. If you haven't heard Freaking on the Interstate, I think there are very few songs that I consider to be perfect songs. Freaking Out on the Interstate is one of the songs I would consider to be a perfect song. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. It's excellent vocally and lyrically and instrumentally. It's excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent.
I think
that's all I got.
I think I need to say now, because I didn't say like 7 was like a perfect thing, so I need to say something perfect about it just so I can like equalize the thing here. So yeah, it's like one of their best records. So okay, I'll say that. Gotcha. I'll say that so I can equalize it. So it sounds like all of our choices were like absolute bangers.
One of these days, I gotta find out I'm gonna make a playlist of the songs I consider to be perfect.
Yeah.
Well, in that case, I think we're about ready to wrap up.
Already. Oh.
Yeah.
Already. It's been an hour. This is a long episode.
Just barely hour-long episode. Usually we I'm surprised we didn't keep going for another 20 minutes, quite frankly. Me too. However,
well, we're kind of
yeah, my laptop's about to die. We gotta go, dudes.
Yep. So this has been Meekers episode 24. We will see you
we're glad to be back.
February. We are glad to be back.
Very glad to be back.
My name is Micah.
My name is Perrin.
I interrupted my
Indeed.
I messed up the order.
You can find us. You're good. And you can find us on bio.link/TNC. You can find me at michaellillian.com. You can find Sean at seanjw.com. You can find Perrin at perrin-designs.myportfolio.com/home.
I swear it'll be easier to remember next time. Hopefully by next time. Yep. We'll see how it goes.
Hopefully so. Yep. Alrighty. Well, we hope y'all have a good one, and we will see y'all in February.
Bye.
Farewell, gamers. Bye.